the comparison between the CELPIP, the IELTS and the PTE examination. Now, we've had a lot of questions where previous video CELPIP versus IELTS, there were a lot of views, a lot of people commented and asked us questions regarding, there are a lot of popular exams, so like, can you elaborate a little more on the differences between them? The CELPIP is a new exam in town. It's the Canadian English Language Proficiency Index program. The IELTS is the International English Language Testing System, which is a very popular exam. And there's another very popular exam which is just like CELPIP, a computer-based test, which is the PTE, or the Pearson Test of English. Now the question is, what is the difference between all three of these exams? So let's take a very quick, broad look to understand. Now, as you can see, the CELPIP is a computer-delivered exam where the listening and reading is computer evaluated, but the writing and speaking, although attempted on the computer, is not computer evaluated, it is human evaluated. When we move to the IELTS, now the IELTS is both available in a computer delivered and a pen and paper delivered format, while the British Council, one of the co-founders, one of the co-conveners or owners of IELTS, hold it currently only in the pen and paper based format. The IDP holds it both in the computer based and the paper based format. Right, now, but either way, when it's computer delivered or paper based, the exam IELTS is completely human evaluated. There is no computer evaluation, although in the computer based the listening and reading might be, because they can program it, but it is still, there's a lot of human involvement in this test. It's not completely computer evaluated at all. The PTE is a completely computer based test and it is completely computer evaluated. It is completely objective and there's no human involvement in this exam at all, right? So now moving further to delve more into these examinations, let's talk a little bit about scoring. So CELPIP, you get scores in the CLBs, or the Canadian Language Benchmarks, and they mark it out of 12. Now the CELPIP exam is only valid and absolutely usable, for the PR, or the permanent residency or immigration for Canada. It's for the general purposes, for the immigration. It is not for study purpose. We cannot give the CELPIP exam for study. There's a separate exam for that, which is known as the CAEL, the CAEL, CAEL, CE. It's a different exam. More about that maybe in another video in the future. If you want to know, do leave a comment. But the CELPIP is only for the immigration and for the general purposes, and it is only valid in Canada. You cannot use this exam for PR for Australia. IELTS scores out of band scores. They give you marks out of 9 bands. Now they have 2 modules. There's an academic module, which is meant if you want to study in any country abroad. It's almost accepted everywhere as for the study visa purposes. And the general module, the GT, which is for the immigration and the PR purposes, and it is valid for both Australia and Canada for the PR. It has different score requirements, but it is valid for both equally. Moving on to the Pearson Test of English, it scores you out of points, where points in each is out of 90. Here there's only one type of module, academic, and this is valid for both, for the study visa and for the immigration purposes. Now the PTE is valid for study visa for, again, almost all countries take the PTE for the study visa purposes. But for the immigration purposes, the Pearson Test of English is currently only applicable for Australia and New Zealand. Currently no other country accepts the Pearson Test of English for immigration or work visa purposes apart from Australia and New Zealand. That's where it's mainly popular, and it is not really used anywhere else currently. Alright, moving further to discuss more about IELTS versus CELPIP versus PTE, a little more into the content of the examination. Now the reading and the listening section in the CELPIP is completely MCQ based. It's all multiple choice questions, so you don't need to type out any fill in the blanks or anything. Even if there are fill in the blank questions, there will be options given and you have to choose out of multiple choice. Now a major important feature about the CELPIP, something which is one of its driving factors why people are really getting into this exam, is that the writing section has a spell check. Now that's very important, since we're all used to the autocorrect and the spell check. So the writing in CELPIP has a spell check. Now the speaking is recorded on a computer but is checked by humans. In the IELTS, the reading and listening has multiple different types of questions, right? It is not limited only to MCQs. There you've got match the following, you've got fill in the blanks, labeling diagrams, lots of different types of questions. The writing is handwritten in the paper based, because it's pen and paper delivered, and you type it in the computer based version, but there is no spell check here. You do not get any spell check in the IELTS test in the computer based version. Speaking, either for computer delivered or for paper based IELTS, is only face to face. There is no computer recording facility in IELTS exam for speaking. It is always going to be a face to face interview. So for the PTE, the complete exam is on the computer. We've already discussed that. But even though the complete exam is on the computer, still the writing does not have a spell check facility. Speaking is recorded on a computer, but it's different because here the speaking is evaluated also by the computer. Again, there are a wide variety of questions. Each of the sections, listening, reading, writing, speaking, has got many different types of questions. Overall, there are 20 types of questions that come in PTE. And they also have an interrelated marking scheme. There are sections within the reading section which have impact in the writing section. There are sections in the speaking section that have impact on the listening section. Some sections in the listening section which have impact on the writing section as well. So they are interrelated marking schemes. So you're not purely marked only on that section. There is some interlinking that also takes place. Right. Again, so some we can say a little bit, we can talk about disadvantages sort of these examinations. So with the CELPIP, it is expected that you have a little bit of idea about the general way of life in Canada, because there are a lot of questions which can be said to be typical to the Canadian way of life. It's a newer exam compared to the other two. It's comparatively newer, so there is comparatively less practice material available for this examination. The material for others is easily available, like for IELTS, there's a lot of material that is available online also. But for CELPIP, we currently need to rely only on the official material that is available from the side of Paragon Testing. All other materials cannot be trusted. The IELTS exam is technically a little more challenging. They are a little more strict in terms of all of the factors, and it's a subjective pattern, and hence it's subjective in terms of its checking as well. So comparatively, a lot of subjectivity comes into its speaking and the writing sections, because it's human evaluated, and also it's held in multiple locations all across the world. So a little subjectivity does seep in, even though they have a very stringent standardized pattern of evaluation, but there is a human interference, so a little bit of human subjectivity does seep in. But in terms of its technicality, the IELTS is a very technical exam, and they're a little strict with their marking patterns and with their standards. So that is an issue which students have reported to be a little challenging. With the PT, it's a completely objective test. There's a standardized pattern, an algorithm which is fit into the computer, and they check solely according to that. So that completely eliminates any sort of human subjectivity. But a disadvantage with this exam is, as I had mentioned earlier, there are about 20 types of questions throughout this test, and there is a lot of interlinking of the marking scheme between the different sections. Due to this, people tend to find it a little bit confusing initially, but it gets better as they move forward. Right, so moving on to some other points. So CELPIP is slightly cheaper than the other two. There's a bare minimum difference. It's not, but the material is very expensive since it's only official material that's available. But one should be very, very aware of fake material and copy material that's available everywhere. Should only and only rely on official material from Paragon Testing. With IELTS also, there's a lot of free material available on YouTube and others, but understand that free material on YouTube is not really that reliable. Neither is that material that expansive and that challenging for the student. If you want quality material and proper training, one should look for certified trainers. Moving forward with PTE, again, out of all three, it's comparatively a more expensive test. The material might not be as expensive as CELPIP. It might be a little cheaper than CELPIP, because there's a lot of they have started manufacturing it in India as well. The scoring, according to current reports, according to the many students who've been given the exam, have reported that considerably scoring in PTE has been a little better for the students. Somehow students have excelled more in the Pearson test of English compared to the other two tests, right? And if training is done from official sources and from certified trainers, and we have seen good success in this examination. So overall, that's the kind of broad breakdown about CELPIP versus IELTS versus PTE. I hope this video has been informative for you. Kindly do subscribe to our channel to get more and more videos about these various exams, to know how to prepare better, and do leave a like if you like this video. And if you have any questions, definitely comment your questions on our videos so that we can get back to you with your comments either on email, or maybe we can even make another video to answer all of your questions. And yeah, that's all the best from Academy of British English. I hope you enjoy your learning pattern. Thank you.